Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am so super excited for today's video. It is a collaboration with one of my very favorite tarot readers, the beautiful, wonderful, amazing Lexi the Leo. In my video we're going to be taking a look at what makes you stand out, and in Lexi's video she's going to take a look at what do people miss about you when you're gone. And so the link to Lexi's video will be in the description. And with that said, please feel free to pause the video, pick whichever card is speaking the most to you, and let's get into it. Hello Pile 1 and welcome to your reading about what makes you stand out. If you chose the Queen of Cups, then this is going to be your reading for today. And just to reiterate, if you didn't watch the intro, this is a collaboration with Lexi the Leo, and in her video she's going to take a look at what do people miss about you when you're gone, and the link to that will be in the description. So with that said, let's get right into it. What makes Pile 1 stand out, Spirit? What makes... Whoa, okay. We have the Hierophant. What makes Pile 1 stand out, Spirit? Oh, okay. We have the Knight of Wands. The Fool, very nice. The Five of Wands. And let's get one more card. What makes Pile 1 stand out, Spirit? What makes Pile 1? Whoa, okay, jumped right out. Okay, and then we have the Eight of Swords. Alright. Okay, I'm just gonna fix up the cards a little. They're probably still gonna be crooked, but that's okay. I'm just gonna move them all down. Okay, so what's interesting is sorry, I'm getting some mental clarification. Okay, what's interesting is what I'm getting from this spread is it's almost like I'm getting I'm getting a lot of messages, Pile 1. I'm kind of getting like an adventurer's vibe from this spread, that you might be somebody who, with the Hierophant being the first card here, you might be somebody who grew up in a situation where there was a lot of maybe obligations or expectations. You might have grown up in like a family structure or a cultural situation where there was sort of a sense of this is the way we do it because this is the way we've always done it. You might have had a lot of like family expectations, again, or cultural expectations in terms of like you might have had maybe a very religious upbringing, or there might have been, because the Hierophant can represent family, traditions, institutions, the way we've been doing things for a long time. If that resonates for you, that might have been a part of how you grew up, being raised in a very traditional type of culture or household. There might have been like a lot of rules. There might have been, again, a lot of expectations or a sense of obligation that you might have broken away from with the Knight of Wands, the Fool, and the Five of Wands energy there. If that resonates for you, that's one of the messages that was coming through, and I was seeing almost like a Bilbo Baggins, like, you know, like leaving your home for the first time and just being excited that you're going on an adventure, you know? So if we're asking the question, what makes you stand out, something that's coming through is that you have like an adventurer spirit, an adventurous spirit. You might be like the first person in your family or the first person in a long time to break free of a certain role or expectation. You might be the first person to go to college. You might be there's just some way in which you are venturing forth, and it's I think it's important that the figures on these cards, this Hierophant is kind of focusing down on the books, and the rest of these figures are facing away from this Hierophant figure. If that resonates for you. And if that's not really resonating for you, there might be another way to interpret the Hierophant, and especially the one in this deck, because it is also associated with higher learning and teaching, institutions, mentorship, and membership, honestly. But so there might be a connection with teaching or mentorship that might be something that kind of sticks out about you. You might be a great teacher, or you might have be under the wing or under the tutelage of somebody who has a prominent standing in your community. Again, if that resonates, because that's another message of the Hierophant. But I do think that it's very interesting that we have the Hierophant, which represents traditions, institutions, the way we've always done things, respecting the wisdom of our elders. And then we have the adventurous energy of the Knight of Wands, of I want to go out and explore. I want to see what's out there. I want to have fun. I want to go. It's the Knight of Wands definitely very much about, I want to go on an adventure. And that's being echoed by the Fool right next to it. It's the Fool is the very first of the major arcana. It's an energy of I'm moving forward with courage and bravery, despite not knowing what's out there. I'm overcoming my fear of the unknown because I know that I'm being spiritually supported and that I'm being called to continue to move forward into the unknown, because there must be some adventure. There must be something better out there for me. There must be something out there. And it's even an optimistic, carefree energy of I've dealt with my emotional baggage, I've dealt with the things from the past that needed to be dealt with, and I don't need to carry those things into the future with me. It's moving forward unburdened by the past. And that's a beautiful energy. And that, I think, again, is something that is coming through, is these two figures are moving away from this Hierophant. And these figures these cards are associated with travel, trying new things, going new places, and really kind of embracing the fun side of exploration. And so that's what's standing out to me in this spread. And then the fact that we have the Five of Wands here is, in addition to the fact that we have the Hierophant, and then this adventurous energy, and then the Five of Wands, and especially the Five of Wands pointing at this Eight of Swords, is telling me a couple of things. We could interpret it a couple of ways, and as always, just take whichever resonates for you. But the Five of Wands here is telling me that it's kind of reiterating this idea of the hero's journey, of I need to go out and prove myself. And there might be a connection with the fact that we have the Eight of Swords and the Hierophant here as bookends, that this might have been a difficult decision. It might have been difficult for other people in your life to accept that that this is just part of who you are. That you need to go out and see what's out there for you. You need to explore your potential. That maybe your soul's calling, your life's path, has taken you off of the beaten path. It's taken you off of the poem, the Robert Frost poem, the Road Less Traveled. That was just the thing that you needed to do, and that might have been difficult for other people in your life to accept, particularly family members, if that resonates for you. But again, I'm just getting from these cards, it is something that is just something that you need to do. And it's kind of, we're asking the question, what makes you stand out, is the fact that you have both the courage and the strength to embrace that side of yourself, and to, if it was difficult to move away from the familiar towards the unknown, and if there were fears involved with the Eight of Swords here, what's coming through is you stand out as being extremely courageous. And again, there might be people in your life who don't understand this decision that you've made, or they don't support you, or whatever it is, but this is largely a very positive energy, and you might come across somebody with a very fiery personality, especially with the Five of Wands there. You might have sort of a competitive spirit, if that resonates. You might be the type of person who, and I resonate with this, the type of person who, when somebody pushes me, my first instinct is to push back. It's an energy of I'm doing this because I need to, and I'm going to prove myself to everybody that it was the right decision, that that I can make it out in this world, and I don't need to be held back by other people's expectations or fears about the future. And I do want to address the Eight of Swords here. I do think it's really interesting that we have all this like courageous, adventurous, passionate energy. And then we have the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords can talk about fears. It can talk about when we let fear hold us back from doing something. And it can talk about specifically the idea that the outcome that we might be afraid of is not real, in the sense that it has not happened yet. And because it has not happened yet, we don't know that the worst possible outcome is going to happen, if that makes sense. It's like, fear isn't real in the sense that, like, feeling afraid is very real, you know, but it's like the thing that you're afraid of is not real until it happens. And so there's a message that it's not serving you to let that fear hold you back from moving forward. And it's an interesting juxtaposition, because with the Knight of Wands and the Fool both talk about not letting fears hold you back, and the Five of Wands would support that interpretation. And then we have the Eight of Swords, which is like kind of the opposite message. And so we could interpret that to say that you've had to, or you are currently in the process of working through these fears that might have held you back for a while, or they might have held you back in the past. You might currently be in, because this is the Fool, the first of the major arcana, you might currently be in this energy of continuing to move forward towards the horizon and having to overcome certain fears that might be related to needing to leave something being represented by the Hierophant here behind, if that resonates for you. And I do think it's interesting in this deck specifically, and I mean in most decks honestly, wands is associated with fire, right? And so these are like literal wands that shoot fire, you know. And then in this deck, swords is associated with ice, and it's like this person is tied to a block of ice, and these figures they have fire wands, and fire melts ice. And so there's maybe a message here that you are working to free this person, this part of yourself. And this could even be talking about if you've been trying to help other people in your life, or just by being an inspiration to other people in your life, you are helping them overcome their own fears about going on an adventure, moving forward, moving into a new cycle, making some change that is necessary, or just like embracing the idea that we do not need to be beholden to old traditions if they are no longer serving us. You know, the Hierophant is not in itself a negative energy. It's not a bad card. It's, you know, there's plenty of really positive things that are associated with tradition, family, religion, teaching, mentorship, and the knowledge of and wisdom of our elders. There's lots of really positive messages associated with this card, but it's just the overall energy of the spread here is giving me the sense that there might be some need to bring a fresh, new perspective to the old ways of doing things. If that resonates for you. And this, it's like, especially the Knight of Wands and Fool and the Five of Wands, like this energy in the middle is very much like, I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to find a way to do it that works for me. And it might require working through fear. And again, for me, that's this basic message of courage. You stand out as somebody who is very courageous and willing to do things that scare you, because it is what is in alignment with your divine path. And so that's what I'm getting from the tarot cards. And we're going to move into the oracle cards. Ooh, okay. All right, we have the Parrot Spirit, which says, watch your words. And it is the number 45, which reduces to 9, which is a number associated with completion and fulfillment. So that the number 9 would speak to me about the end of a cycle. And then we have the Fool right above it, talking about the beginning of a cycle. So you, with the Parrot Spirit energy and watch your words, you might have first of all gone through some sort of throat chakra expansion. You might have needed to do that. And you might have achieved a certain level of fulfillment already, or completing a cycle already, that has to do with expressing a truth. And this can even be saying, there is a message with this card of, you know, sometimes we need to be careful about what we say, and it's particularly the way that we express certain things. That might be a lesson that you have been learning, or but I am getting scatterbrained just because I'm excited about these messages for you, pile one. Parrots mimic speech, and they learn they learn speech patterns, and they literally parrot back phrases. That's where, you know, that's where that expression comes from. And this, for me, would indicate that you are ending a cycle where you might have been repeating things that you had heard or learned from maybe your childhood, family of origin, the culture you grew up in, something. You were taught something or told to express something a certain way, etc. And this card carries a message about we need to examine what we've been taught to say, and that can also relate to things like self-talk, limiting self-beliefs. And when we say watch your words, it's like this card can be associated with learning to do affirmations and self-esteem work, and like the things that we say and the way that we say them are incredibly important. And we know that even in connection to things like manifestation and the power of positive thinking, and again, like mirror affirmations. And I know for me personally, I was astounded the first time I tried to do like mirror affirmations related to my appearance. I was astounded by how effective it was in boosting my self-esteem and my body image in a positive way. And it was like my physical appearance didn't change, you know, but it was my perception. And it's like words are so incredibly powerful in terms of our perceptions and the way that we see the world and the way that we see ourselves and the way that we see each other. And I think that there's a message here that part of your life lesson has so far on your journey has been about re-examining the words that you say and the way that you say them, and your self-belief and maybe even your entire belief system. It's like examining what you've been taught and challenging that. And that might have required you to speak up a lot about the things that you had been taught, and maybe if you've been having realizations that I'm having trouble expressing this idea. I hope that that you understand what I've been saying so far. Like, I think the Parrot Spirit card is a very important card that came out here. It's like something that makes you stand out is you understand the importance of words and the way that they are used. And again, you might have been learning about things like affirmations and manifestation, power, positive thinking, etc., and how important words are. And you might have a very, very keen understanding of the way that words can be used as weapons. And that might have been something that has happened to you over the course of your life. And you might even have been told at one point in your life to watch your words, to watch your mouth, or to shut up and sit down, or to be seen and not heard, etc. And your opinions and viewpoints might have been discounted, discredited, and dismissed at some point in your life. And you might have had to say, like, literally, no, I will not be silenced. And that might be part of this really courageous energy, this I'm willing to prove myself, I'm willing to challenge myself and others, because it is the right thing to do, and it's something that I feel passionate about. That's coming through here. So again, I think that I'm getting excited because and parrots are also really colorful and vibrant, and that is something that's coming through, is like a very colorful, vibrant, passionate energy. And I think that if we're asking the question, what makes you stand out, when you walk into a room, even if you don't feel like this is true about yourself, it's something that I'm picking up. When you walk into a room, people notice you. You have a vibrant energy that is coming through here. And I just wanted to express that. So the next card we have is, very interesting. Okay, try and fit everything in frame. We have the Messiah archetype, which says serving humanity with humility. And this might be connected with what I was saying about if the people on this Five of Wands card are using their fire wands to melt the ice block that this person is strapped to so that they can free themselves from this imprisonment. If we're gonna use that metaphor, then we can extend the metaphor and say that this might be connected with why the Messiah archetype is coming out, because you might be helping other people also break away from a system or a tradition or a specific, and it can even be, you know, what I was saying, there's the Hierophant card is not in itself negative. There might be part of the old system or way of doing things, that parts that are good, you know, but it's like there might be something that needs to change. There might be like something might be outdated or again, not really serving you or not serving people that are, you know, if it could even be that, you know, like an example of this would be, there are like many beautiful positive things about belonging to a specific religion, but that religion might not support queer people, for example, and you might be somebody who identifies as queer, and you might say, well, there's parts of my religion that I really love. Like maybe you love the part where there's like the coming together on a family holiday. There might be like beloved traditions that are related to that you want to celebrate with your family. But there are parts of that religious tradition that don't support the fact that you are queer, and that, like, this is just an example, but this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about, where you saying, well, if my religion doesn't support me, then that's something that I need to challenge. And you might be outspoken about that. And by being outspoken about that and facing your fears that might be related to that, you are helping other people. Even if it's not directly, you are helping other people by being an inspiration. Even standing up for yourself tells other people who might be in the same or similar situation that they are worth standing up for, that they have the ability to affect the changes in their lives that you are doing in your life, if that makes sense. And it's like inspiring courage and bravery in other people. So that's something that's coming through. And then with serving humanity with humility, you might also do like a lot of volunteer work. You might come you come across as somebody who is, first of all, passionate and also compassionate. And so you might do volunteer work, you might work in your community, or you might just have an energy where people know that they can rely on you to help them. And I do think it's very interesting that the word on this card is Messiah, which is a word that is usually related to religion and certain religious traditions, and it's like passion and commitment to a cause. And with the other energies here, it might be a cause that challenges a tradition in some way. So definitely I think that's a beautiful positive message in terms of what makes you stand out. You know, you are like a bright light. You are an inspiring person to other people who are within your social circle. Okay, and then we have this lovely card which says balance. And it is the number 3, which is associated with joy, happiness, positivity, creative expression, and the 3rd house of community and communication. And, you know, and there are 2 people on this card. I think it is supposed to represent 2 aspects of the same person. But, you know, but this is, with the balance here, there is also a message that you might, like, recognize. Again, it's something that's coming through is, it's not all black and white. It's not all good or bad, yes or no, me against you, etc. This is an energy of I'm willing to work with you to get to a solution that works for everybody, if that resonates. And this is kind of reminding me of one of the messages of the Knight of Wands, is that the Knight is a little bit more mature than the Page. The Page might be a little bit more chaotic, you know, might take a little bit more, what's the word, reckless than the Knight. The Knight of Wands is not afraid to take a risk, but it's a calculated risk. So there's a balance, you know, it's not about running off half-cocked with no plan, you know, but it's saying like, I'm going to embrace my passionate side and do this because I feel strongly about it, and because I want to go on an adventure, and that in itself is a valid enough reason. And I have a plan, you know, and I have, you know, there's this sense of, again, like, it's not black and white. And there's something that's coming to me is that what I was saying about, like, what makes you stand out is the fact that you have a lot of courage. And it takes a lot of courage to be in this Knight of Wands Fool energy, especially if it's taking you away from a Hierophant. And if it involves facing your fears, there is, you know, the saying that, like, bravery requires fear. So I think if we're taught, like, how does balance figure into what we're talking about, what makes you stand out is, again, there's a lot of really bright, courageous, passionate energy here. And people can also recognize that you are working towards harmony. If that resonates for you, that's something that's coming through. Like, I don't know how else to express this thought. There's a message with this card about bringing disparate things together. And that there's a balance between night and day, a balance between the moon and the sun, a balance between the light and the dark, a balance between the positive aspects of the Hierophant and the not so positive aspects, a balance between courage and fear. And something that's coming through, the Parrot Spirit with Watch Your Words is, you might be an excellent communicator, and that is something that is serving you very well. And I forgot to make the connection between the Hierophant and the Messiah card. In terms of, like, you might literally be like a mentor to people around you in terms of how to take this type of action in your life. And again, it can even be like in a passive way, in the sense that, like, you're just kind of leading by example. And other people are taking that and taking inspiration and hope from that. And that's a beautiful, positive thing. So that's what I'm seeing in the cards, pile 1. And I do want to roll some Astro Dice just to get any additional messages for you. And I'm going to try not to knock the cards all over the place, but we'll see what happens. All right. So it's Spirit, what makes pile 1 stand out? Spirit, what makes pile 1 stand out? Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have Pisces and the 11th house and the Sun. So right away, the connection between Pisces and the 11th house is talking to me about somebody who has a lot of hope and positive, and there is a message with the Fool about having a positive attitude. There's a message with the number 3 about having, like, again, like a joyful, hopeful attitude, despite whatever fears and challenges might come out. And the connection between Pisces and the 11th house is like, I have a lot of hope for my community. That's a message that's coming through. And the connection between the Sun and Pisces, first of all, you might have Pisces placements or 11th house placements, and or, you know, the other zodiac signs we have here are, we have fire with the Wands energy, Hierophant associated with Taurus, and then air with the Swords. And so just take that however it resonates. But the Pisces and Sun is telling me that you are somebody who is compassionate and highly empathetic, and that is something that's coming through, especially with the Messiah archetype, and the way you use your words. Like, I think you're very careful with the things that you say, the way you say them, because you genuinely don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and at the same time you are going to make sure that you are speaking up for yourself and others in a way that works for you. There's a certain level of and this would vibe for me in terms of, if we're talking about being a really good communicator, that there's an artistic side to Pisces that's related to maybe the energy of the number 3. And again, you might be like a writer or do creative writing. You might write poetry. You might have just a natural talent with words. You know, take that however it resonates. Might be something that stands out about you, is that you are a very good communicator. You might read a lot, especially all the books on the Hierophant card, and that comes through in the way that you express yourself. The connection between the Sun and the 11th house of community, would tell me that that you have a passion for like humanitarian efforts, and serving humanity with humility in the Messiah card is telling me it is probably very important to you to have a positive impact in your community, and to help other people. And so again, like, I mean, there could be a way to interpret this where you are not like intentionally working with people to help people. I think it, with the the Sun in the 11th house, I think you really make an effort to be helpful to other people and to help other people in your community. I think that that is something that comes across as something that you are very passionate about, and that is something that stands out about you, is your genuine desire to help other people, and particularly to help people in your community. And I don't remember if I said this, I was thinking about this when I was looking at this card. This is an image of, again, even if it's supposed to be the two sides of the same person, there are two people here and they're like connected through their like crown. Like, it's these are people who are supporting each other. There's a mutual support energy here, and it's even like a mutual support between people who have some sort of external difference, because this is like an opposites in balance, that you're coming through as somebody who's extremely open-minded and willing to work with anybody, anywhere, in any walk of life. So that's what I'm seeing for you today, Pile 1. I hope that you have enjoyed this reading. I hope that it resonated for you. If you liked it, please feel free to give it a like. Please comment down below, let me know how it resonated for you. Please check out Lexi's video. The link will be in the description. And if you like my videos and you want to see more from me, you can feel free to subscribe to my channel. And with that said, thank you very much for watching Pile 1, and I do hope to see you in my next video. Hello Pile 2, and welcome to your reading about what makes you stand out. If you chose the Queen of Pentacles, this is going to be your reading for today. And in case you missed it, this is a collaboration with the wonderful, beautiful Lexi the Leo, and the link to her video, which is about what do people miss about you when you're gone, is going to be in the description. So I urge you to check that out. And with that said, let's get into it. What makes Pile 2 stand out? What makes Pile 2 stand out? What makes Pile... Ooh. Okay. We have the Seven of Swords. Alright, what makes Pile 2 stand out? Spirit, okay. We have Death. Okay, before I could even ask the question, okay, we have the Ten of Swords. Alright, it seems like, so far it seems like you have been through a lot. What makes Pile 2 stand out? Okay, more Swords energy. We have the Three of Swords. Okay, what makes... Okay. Okay, there's too many cards. Alright. Okay, flew right out. Ooh, beautiful. Okay, and then we have the Ace of Cups. So definitely from this reading right off the bat, first of all, I do want to apologize if you can hear the fan in the background. We're going through a bit of a heat wave right now, and I just can't film without it. So I'm sorry if there's a little bit of background noise. But first off, the major energy here is you have been through the ringer emotionally, and it has required you to, I just heard save yourself, but it's required you to go through a lot of transformations in your life, and you might have had to start over multiple times. You might have had to reinvent yourself multiple times, even if it was only on an energetic level. And so if we're asking the question, what makes you stand out, the answer would be, what makes you stand out is the way you have overcome challenges in your life. That's the answer that's coming through with the energy of these cards here. Because again, like with the 7, the 10, and the 3 of Swords here, there's a lot of energy of like other people have done you wrong in your life, and coming through that, you know, it's just through no fault of your own, you know. You've had to go through really hard times, really dark times, and you know, unfortunately, it seems like there have been other people in your life who have betrayed you, backstabbed you, lied, cheated, sabotaged, manipulated you. And just really, like this, I'm being drawn to the figure on the Ten of Swords of some, like you just are just kind of being repeatedly stabbed in the back and left for dead on the ice there. And it's like this, the spirit that's rising above, you know? And, you know, that's not to say that, how do I want to put this? It was not fair. The things that have happened to you over the course of your life were not fair. And you didn't deserve to be hurt like that. However, they were opportunities to grow and learn and rise above your circumstances, rise above the behavior of other people, and make these spiritual transformations that I can see that you have been making. And it might have been and might still continue to be a long and difficult, painful process. And you have done a beautiful job of growing and learning and transforming through these experiences in your life. And I said, well, the reason why I said it was beautiful that we're ending this reading, or we're ending the spread here with the Ace of Cups, is because this is a beautiful, positive, hopeful energy. The way I interpret the Ace of Cups, particularly when it comes to an emotional situation, it can be about choosing to approach our relationships and the way that we respond emotionally to things from a totally different perspective. It's like we've changed, gone through a cycle, gone through the healing, and we're starting again, and we're going to do things differently this time. And we're in a better energy, a healthier energy. Ace of Cups is a positive message. And I'm being drawn to all the beautiful tropical fish on the card. And it's reminding me of the line from Parks and Rec where Leslie calls Anne a beautiful tropical fish. That's kind of what's coming out. There is a message here that you stand out because you radiate a certain level of beauty that you know is like a physical beauty, yes, and also it's like it's radiating out from your soul. And with the Ace of Cups, I know I'm kind of going out of order, but I'm being really drawn to this card to talk about it because the message that's coming through is despite the number of times people have tried to hurt you and all the swords in your back and all the times when you've trusted people and they let you down, with the Ace of Cups, it's like my heart is still open. I'm not going to let this shut me down. And that's a beautiful energy. That's a beautiful energy to give out into the world. It's a beautiful energy to be in. And that is part of what makes you stand out to other people as someone who, despite the painful things you've gone through, you still have an open heart. And that's rare. It takes a lot of strength and courage to be in that energy. So again, I know I've kind of gone a little bit out of order, but those are the messages I felt like I needed to get out right off the bat. So starting with the Seven of Swords, that does talk about usually betrayal, but things like lying, sneaking around, manipulating, people with bad intentions, and it can be a warning from Spirit that you have people in your life who are in a negative energy, who are having bad thoughts about you, who are not trustworthy. And the reason why I said that you might have gone through a few transformations, a few reinventions, this might be like a pattern that has been happening in your life, is because of the story, the order of these cards. There's, if we're starting with the Seven of Swords, you might have even realized early on that you were having a lot of experiences with people who were not in a healthy energy, who didn't have your best interests at heart, and that might have required you to go through a transformation with the energy of the Death card. And what's interesting is I love the images in this deck. I love how they're kind of different from they get the message across, but they're very much on theme with the theme of mermaids. But I love the image on this card. It's like you know, people and the mermaids kind of helping the animals that are there's an oil spill and they're helping the animals, and so it's the standard message of the death card: a rebirth, a transformation, reinventing yourself, maybe going through an ego death, a dark night of the soul, maybe going through that transformative process as a result of realizing the way that other people have been treating us badly, or not having our best interests at heart. There might have been a really significant event or instance, or even just like a pattern, recognizing a pattern of people trying to bring you down, trying to sabotage you, being manipulative, talking behind your back, etc., and or all of the above. But if there was like a significant betrayal of trust, it has caused you to go through, and it's like I'm seeing the care and love for these animals that are covered in oil, as you caring and loving for the parts of yourself that the people on this card did not care and love. So it's like giving yourself that self-love and compassion that was helping you go through that sort of transformation that that you have been through. And then we have the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords in itself is not necessarily a negative message, because it talks about the end of the end of a painful cycle, you know, or and it can even, the ending itself can be very painful, but it's like it's an opportunity, as I was saying, it's like an opportunity to learn and grow and go through a transformation. And so what I'm getting from these three cards being here together is this has been a long process, and the imagery on this card is, again, it's giving me like spiritual ascension vibes, and that's something that you might have had to do multiple times, because the card that's immediately after the Ten of Swords is the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords talks about heartbreak and betrayal and really heavy, painful feelings. And so there could be a couple of ways that we can interpret it. Like I don't always read the cards like this, but for this particular spread, I am being called to emphasize the order in which they came out. It's like trying to end a cycle and leave something behind, and doing all the spiritual work and emotional work, and like rising above it, closing it out. You know, the number 10 in numerology, 10 reduces to 1. So it's like the end of something so that we can start back at the ace. But there's a Three of Swords in the middle here. And so this could either be a message that right when you were about to move on, right when you were like closing out at the end of this cycle, you've gone through the transformation, you're taking care of yourself, you're rebirthing, going through spiritual ascension, spiritual rebirth, doing the hard work, doing the shadow work, the dark night of the soul, whatever we're talking about here. Like you really have stepped up for yourself to take care of yourself, and then you're hit with a Three of Swords. And again, that's how I'm kind of interpreting it two ways. One would be then there's an additional trauma that happens. There's an additional painful event. There's an additional betrayal. It could even be if the Seven of Swords was related maybe to your family of origin or a significant friends group, and then you're going through all this spiritual transformation, spiritual change, really stepping up and doing the work and learning and growing from that experience, and you're like right ready to kind of shut the door on that and move on, and then your partner cheats on you. It's like, for example, it's that kind of thing where it's like I'm so close to the end of this, and then there's something else. And so that might resonate for some of you, and then for others this would even just be maybe talking about if there's a Three of Swords in between. Ten of Swords, end of the cycle. Ace of Cups, the beginning of something new. The Three of Swords in the middle, it could just be additional context that the reason why this was such a long and hard and painful process is because you feel your feelings so deeply. You felt this so intensely that it was really, really hard to overcome and integrate the level of heartbreak and pain. Like this is just context of like what are we closing out, leaving behind, working through these really painful feelings of like being stabbed in the heart. And there could even be a message that's coming through about maybe part of this process of processing your pain and the events that have happened in your life that caused that pain. There might be a mess, because whales are a symbol of wisdom and like intuition, like intuitive knowing, wisdom that is gifted by the universe. There might have been a need for you to relearn how to trust your intuition, how to trust your, like that it might have shaken your faith in your own ability to trust yourself, to put it that way. Just because, you know, if you've had to deal with so many people who, or so many situations, or like a pattern of situations where people have hurt and betrayed you, I could understand, that makes total sense how, you know, you might get to a place where like, I don't know if I can trust my own judgment when it comes to other people. I don't know how I can trust my own judgment when it comes to relationships. And with the Three of Swords being right before the Ace of Cups, and what I said about the Ace of Cups representing an open heart chakra, the Three of Swords might have been like, this is something that was a bit of a blockage, because the Three of Swords was was shutting down your heart chakra as a means to protect yourself, because you might have been feeling like, I don't know how to trust other people, and I don't know how to trust myself. And if that's resonating for you, then I think that it's really important that the Ace of Cups is the final card here, because you might still be kind of in the middle of this process. You might not fully resonate with being in the Ace of Cups yet. But I mean, it is a general reading, but there's a message that you're going to be here. And that is something, again, that really kind of sticks out. I'm seeing you here being represented as the self-compassion on this Death card, this spirit rising above on the Ten of Swords, and these beautiful tropical fish on the Ace of Cups. And that's the part of you that stands out. Having an open heart, having self-compassion, having compassion for others, being willing to love and trust, again, after being hurt so deeply, and very importantly, being able to love and trust and forgive yourself as well. Because what has happened over the course of your life is being represented here on the cards was not your fault. And it's the thing that's coming into my head is, it's not my fault, but it's my responsibility. You know, it's like there are certain circumstances that are happening in our lives that are outside of our control. For example, if somebody decides to cheat on us, it's like there's, you know, they were going to do that. You know, we could be doing everything perfectly in the relationship and think that everything is going really well, and then somebody just makes that choice. You know, and it's like through no fault of our own. You know, that's just the choice the other person made, right? And so it's like, it's not our fault, but how we choose to respond to that, and how we choose to take care of ourselves after that happens, that's the part that's our responsibility. And it's what's coming through is that you have stepped up and taken that responsibility for yourself and for your, I just heard taking responsibility for your heart. And there's something that's coming through with the Ace of Cups is also the message that I don't need to be able to trust other people, in the sense that, like, you know, how I can't know, you know, if you know, there's no guarantee basically that somebody that I'm interested in, or like a new friend or whoever, there's no guarantee that they're not going to hurt me. But it's like, it's not about whether I can trust them, it's can I trust the universe and can I trust myself? And those are the parts that are going to help me keep my heart open to new experiences. And I do want to say, look, having gone through all this transformative work, closed out this cycle, dealt with all these really painful emotions, this painful situation, especially if it was re-traumatizing, if something happened that was re-traumatizing for you. Having gone through all of that stuff, it has and it will put you in a place where you can trust your intuition, and you will know that you can trust your intuition, and you will know that the universe is bringing people towards you who are going to match your energy, because you have dealt with your karma, you've dealt with your any like toxic behaviors that you might have been engaging in, etc., etc., whatever the dynamic was, like you've dealt with all your stuff. You've taken responsibility for that stuff, and by putting out like a genuine, open-hearted energy out into the world, you are going to attract people. Yes, you might attract people who are in this Seven of Swords energy, but you will know, you'll be able to recognize them when they come towards you. You can trust yourself. You can trust your intuition, and that's just an additional message coming through if somebody needed to hear that. But it's just, yeah, like that, being in this energy of having done all this work and being in this beautiful Ace of Cups energy is very attractive, and that's what makes you stand out. If people can tell you have a lot of compassion for yourself and for others, you might have gone through a spiritual ascension and be like you're just coming through as in a very high vibrational energy, and that is what makes you stand out. And I do want to say one last thing, which is that I am being drawn to the hair on this figure. So people might also and I do think this card, Ace of Cups, all the fish here, are definitely associated with physical beauty, and I think that people might also really notice your hair, particularly if it's long and wavy, but you know, in any other circumstance, like I am being drawn to the hair on this card. So I do want to say that is what I'm seeing in the tarot. I know it's a little bit more, a bit more of like an abstract sort of answer to that question, but you know, it's like what makes you stand out is your energy. That's the basic answer there, and the energy you are able to put out despite all this stuff that you've gone through over the course of your life. And the other thing with that would be that I do think that other people can tell that you are discerning and you are coming through as being very grounded, as like people can tell you've been through some stuff, you know, and that could even be an energetic barrier or an energetic boundary that your higher self, like your energy is putting out to prevent people in this energy from coming towards you, and because you are attracting people who are vibrating on your frequency. If that makes sense. That's something else I wanted to say. And then I was just thinking about this card. Sorry, I'm excited. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck. It is the Butterfly Spirit. It says transformation is beautiful, and it's the number 11. Number 11 is a master number in numerology. It reduces to 2, which is a number that has to do with harmony and interpersonal relationships, and like working together with people. And 11 might be like an angel number for you, might be a number that you see in spirit, your spirit guides send you a lot. I would also associate it with the Justice card in tarot, which is number 11. And it's like there's a certain level of balance to the number 11. So that might be significant for you. You might also be a life path 11 if that resonates for you. But there is a message with this card. The basic message of this card is transformation is beautiful. First of all, yes, absolutely, physically beautiful, and also the energetic result, I guess, of going through a transformative process is also beautiful. Definitely connected with the Death card there, and it's. The message of this card is that, yes, transformation is also very uncomfortable. It can be extremely painful, and it can require us to really examine some of our self-beliefs, or limiting self-beliefs, negative self-talk, etc., so that we can get to a place where we can just have like a sense of trust in ourselves and the universe. I keep getting distracted. Yes, the transformation can be painful, long, difficult, and uncomfortable. And there's a message with this card that if you're going through it, it's important to focus on the parts of the transformative process that are fun, that are exciting, that make us feel good. It's about changing our perspective to focus on things that we are grateful for, and the positive aspect. It's like, even if you are in the stage where you are inside the cocoon and it's just goo, and that could be the Death card here, like going through an ego death and not knowing who you are, etc., etc. It's still okay to be excited, because you know at the end of the process you're going to be a butterfly. And that's something that is exciting. You know, so it's like there's something to look forward to in every type of transformation, again, even though we can validate, recognize and validate that it is very difficult and it can be very painful and uncomfortable. It's just there's a message to focus on the positive aspects of it. And so that might be something that is being, like, that message might be something that is reflected here by the fact that we have the Three of Swords followed by the Ace of Cups, like a shift of our perspective on relationships and learning again how to reopen the heart chakra, painful process. And also a beautiful thing. And also, if we're asking about what makes you stand out, first of all, yes, you do have a very vibrant energy. You have this beautiful energy, and people can tell you've gone through a transformation of some sort. And you might be constantly changing or transforming or evolving. That might be something that, you know, is like something that's true for you, you know, if that resonates for you, and you might be also something that's on an aesthetic level. You know, we do have the butterfly is like literally a physical transformation, and so you might be constantly changing up your aesthetic and or your appearance. You know, if we're talking about hair and having hair, you might change your hair color, your hairstyle a lot, and people might notice that about you. And if you have like an unusual hairstyle, that might be like one of the first things that that people notice about you. But then there is an energy of you have gone through an evolution of some sort, spiritual, emotional evolution of some sort. You have up-leveled, you have upcycled, and people can tell that about your energy immediately, whether they would have the words to articulate that or not. It's just, it's something energetic that is beautiful about you. I just heard you have a stunning energy is what I just heard. So that is something that is coming through. Ooh, okay. This would definitely vibe for me in terms of what we've been seeing already. We have the healer archetype, and it says, passion to serve others by repairing the body, mind, and spirit, ability to help transform pain into healing. And so, yeah, that would be a total confirmation in terms of what we're seeing here is like, first of all, you've really healed yourself. That is something that is coming through in a big way. And there's a message here that you, with the compassionate energy on this death card, it's also, in most decks, the death card only has one figure on it. It's like the figure, the representation of death. In this deck, there's three people here, and they're all helping out. And so this could be a message that you have also really relied on the help of other people. It could be like the help of certain friends in your social group, and or it could be represent the help of spirit. So like however that resonates for you. Like helping you go through this transformative process, and then having gone through it, coming back around and sharing that energy, sharing the things that you have learned with other people who might also be struggling or suffering in some way. If that resonates for you, like there's a compassionate energy here on this death card, because they're all helping these animals who are stuck in this oil spill, and that's something that people recognize about you immediately, and it's coming from a genuine place. You coming through as somebody who is very genuine in your intentions, and it could just be an even simpler message that being in your energy is healing for other people, especially if you're coming through as somebody who is very grounded and emotionally open. You're willing to be emotionally vulnerable with people despite the painful experiences that you've gone through in your life. And that is, again, it's a beautiful energy to be around, and other people find it healing to be in your energy. And then the other way we could also interpret that is you might work as a healer in like a healing profession, or that might be something that you do like in more of like a side job or like a hobby. You might be learning Reiki healing, which I think is what is being shown on this card, or you might work in healthcare, or like mental health care, or you might like participate in group therapy, etc., etc., if that resonates for you. But again, it could just be the simple message that being around you and being in your energy is very healing for other people. And in addition, it's a recognition of the way that you have healed and transformed yourself. And then we have, ooh, okay. yeah, again, another confirmation. You've been through a lot in this lifetime so far. We have soul loss. And in numerology, the number 29 also reduces to 2, just like number 11. So it's another message about working in harmony, working together with other people, which might be something that resonates for you. And what's interesting is that this card pretty much confirms a lot of the other things that we're seeing here. It talks about going through a major traumatic event and losing yourself, like losing a sense of who you are. And that might, again, have been something that you have had to go through several times so far in your soul's journey in this lifetime. There's a message with this card that the way to get through that process is, like, it's echoing the message of the butterfly spirit of like connecting with your inner child. And even if you're going through a time where things are really dark and you don't know what your purpose is, and you don't know, you're losing your sense of who you are, like again, dark night of the soul, ego death type thing. It's important to focus on the parts of life that give you joy, the parts of life that are just fun, the parts of, and there's a, like, even connecting with nature, and again, like reconnecting with your inner child. So that might have been something that you had to do as part of this process, is reconnect with your inner child, reconnect with the parts of your life that do give you joy, and the parts of your life that do allow you to be in this beautiful Ace of Cups energy where you are open and receptive to new opportunities when it comes to relationships and in terms of managing your own emotional self. Like we could make an argument, you know, with the Ace of Cups, there might be a way to interpret that as having a renewed sense of self. There's the Ace is 1. It's about you. It's about your cup and what fills your cup. And there might have, like, really been a long process of learning what fills your cup so that you can be open to sharing that cup with other people because you know how to refill it, if that makes sense. So that's something that's coming through. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is I also think it's interesting that, you know, when we're doing the Mermaid Tarot and we have the jellyfish here, and jellyfish can be symbolic of instinct, so, you know, being able to trust and follow our instincts and our intuition with the whale there. Survival, so that can talk about having to be in survival mode for a little bit, and focusing on how to survive an emotionally traumatic event, and or it could also have been physically traumatic, I don't know, but it's like surviving a trauma in some way, or a loss in some way. And then there's also a message about kind of going with the flow, because, you know, jellyfish kind of flow through the water, and maybe that might be associated with just embracing the process, as painful and uncomfortable as it is, and saying, like, I'm just gonna. It's funny, I'm doing a collab with Lexi the Leo, and what came into my head was "No Tears Left to Cry" by Ariana Grande. So. But that's what's coming in. It's like just crying your tears, feeling your feelings, going through the process, and just kind of embracing it, and knowing that you're going to come out the other side a butterfly. And you have. That's the message here. You have. And that's what stands out about you, is being willing and able to go through this process. And people can recognize you have been through a lot, and you've come out the other side in this beautiful healing energy, which is, again, it's a beautiful positive message. And also I want to say, additionally, butterflies and or jellyfish might be important spiritual messengers for you, so just take that however it resonates. And with that said, we are going to get just any additional messages with the Astro Dice here. Alright, Spirit, what makes pile 2 stand out? Spirit, what makes pile 2 stand out? Spirit. Oh, okay. Landed all the way over here. Okay. Alright, so we have... Oh, okay. I don't want to knock it over. We have Aquarius, Jupiter, and the 7th house. And what's interesting right off the bat is we have the 7th house of relationships, and we have the 7 of Swords right there. So there's definitely a connection there. And also, we have a lot of swords energy, so you yourself might be an air sign, just sun, moon, or rising, take that however it resonates, particularly maybe an Aquarius. And then we have death, which is associated with Scorpio, and the Ace of Cups would be associated with water signs, which includes Scorpio. So again, just take that however it resonates. And what's coming through, the connection between Aquarius and Jupiter is the Aquarius association with community involvement and like social justice and social, even like this healing energy, like being a healer in the community. And I think you stand out as somebody that people know that they can trust. People know that they can go to you. You might have some way in which you either like volunteer your time, or it might be part of your job that is related to helping other people in your community. It might be something that you're very passionate about, and it could even be, if you're not like actively doing anything like that, it could just be that even just by existing as yourself and leading by example, you are inspiring other people who know about your journey and know about your kind of life's path, and they can see the amazing changes in the way that you have overcome significant challenges, especially emotional challenges in your life, and that in itself is extremely inspiring to other people in your community environment. And the other thing is, you know, with the Aquarius energy of innovation and authenticity, like being your authentic self, you might have needed to, like, part of your journey might have been needing to embrace your authentic self, and you might be doing something that is innovative. That might be, with the Jupiter energy, might be bringing you abundance in some way, and again, that might be like tied to your soul's purpose, is like doing something different that is very much true to who you are, that is innovative and exciting, that's going to bring you abundance in this lifetime, if that resonates for you. I think there might also be a message for you here with having Jupiter and the 7th house, that you are going to be having good luck in your relationships because of the transformation you have gone through. That you are starting a cycle, the Ace of Cups here, of good luck and abundance when it comes to your relationships with the 7th house. And Cups being associated with relationships. And, you know, and with the connection with Aquarius. People who are vibrating on your frequency can see that you are authentic in your compassion and your generosity. And they're going to be attracted, people who are also in that energy are going to be attracted towards you because of the energy that you are in. And that's something that stands out about you. And it can even be like, part of what stands out about you is your willingness and openness and like your genuine desire to help other people and help your community, your passion to serve others, despite the way that other people have hurt and betrayed you. Like you have not let it make you bitter or hateful or resentful. Even if feelings of bitterness and resentment and maybe even hate have been part of what you have needed to process and work through, you do not come through as somebody who is operating from that, from a place of hurt or resentment. You are operating from a place of love and compassion. And that's beautiful. With that said, that is where I am going to leave your reading today, pile 2. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you're interested in Lexi's video about what people will miss about you when you're gone, the link will be in the description. If you like my video, you can feel free to give it a like. Please comment down below, let me know how it resonated for you. If you like my videos and you want to see more from me, you can feel free to subscribe to my channel. And thank you again very much for watching Pile 2, and I do hope to see you in my next video. Hello Pile 3, and welcome to your reading about what makes you stand out. If you chose the Queen of Swords, this is going to be a reading for today, and in case you missed it, this is a collaboration with the wonderful, amazing Lexi the Leo. The link to her video will be in the description, and that one will be about what do people miss about you when you're gone. And with that said, let us get into it. Alright, what makes Pile 3 stand out, Spirit? What makes Pile 3... Whoop. Okay, we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Four of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, Whoa, jumped right into my hand. We have the Nine of Swords. I'll fix them up in a sec. Okay, and then the Emperor fell right into my lap. So, okay. Okay, pile 3. So the first thing that's coming through is you have a very committed, responsible energy. We have the Four of Swords, and then we have the Emperor, which is the number 4. And we also have the Knight of Pentacles, which again is very like steady, responsible energy. The number 4 is very stable. And we have that energy juxtaposed with the Nine of Swords, which can talk about anxiety, depression, dark thoughts, and basically having poor mental health. And that might be something that resonates for you, might have gone through or currently still be managing symptoms of mental health. And that can be, as I said, anxiety, depression, dark thoughts, and thought spirals can definitely be represented on the Nine of Swords here. But the rest of the cards here are talking to me about somebody who's really kind of taken control of the way that you manage those symptoms. And this is a real like one day at a time kind of energy here. And there's something, the fact that we're starting with the Ace of Pentacles is telling me you might have gone through either recently or maybe this has been like kind of like a years long process to get to this point. But this is talking to me about making a commitment to yourself. And that might have been something that, again, it might have taken a long time to get there, or it might have taken a while to kind of figure out what that means for you. But there's the Ace of a new beginning or a new opportunity, and the Pentacles associated with commitment. And if this is coming through as part of your energy, then this, again, doesn't end up being the first card in the spread here, telling me you might have recently started a new cycle. You might be in a current phase of your life and your soul's journey and your development where you have made a new commitment. And with all this the other energies here, I'm seeing a commitment to yourself and to managing your own life and to really stepping up for yourself. There might be a commitment to self-care, might be another message with both the energy of Pentacles and with the Four of Swords being the next card there, which I do associate with self-care because the Four of Swords is often associated with giving yourself a chance to rest and recover, particularly after a rough emotional period or you know, if you've been doing shadow work, healing your emotional body, and particularly if you have made a decision to really commit to yourself and your own spiritual development, spiritual journey, it would make sense to me that the next card there would be the Four of Swords. It's like, if I have previously not been able to find a safe place in this universe for myself, if other people have not provided safety and shelter for me, then I'm going to step up and create that for myself. And I'm saying that particularly because we have this Knight of Pentacles and the Emperor here. And definitely the Emperor energy is giving me the sense that you have created this safe place to rest and recover for yourself. You know, this Pentacles energy definitely associated with hard work, and I think it's important that this Four of Swords is resting in between the shelter of these two Pentacles cards. It's giving me the sense this is something you are very committed to, and that is something that does stand out. First of all, as I was saying, the first thing that came to mind is very committed, responsible energy, a big focus on self-care, and particularly taking care of your mental health. That is something that definitely very much stands out about you. I think you come across as somebody who's very steady and reliable, and you always show up for yourself, and you always show up for other people, but you might have had to go through a change or transformation and start a new cycle for yourself where you are focusing on prioritizing yourself. You're focusing on prioritizing your own self-care, which might not have been something that that you were taught to do, and it might not have been something that you had been, what I'm hearing is quote unquote, given permission to do in previous parts of your life. And it's just like such an important part of your soul's journey is learning how to step up for yourself and really take care of yourself. And that is something that is coming through in this right here as something that stands out about your energy. And it's also, as I was saying, like a very kind of grounded, practical energy, especially with all the pentacles here, the number 4 and the Emperor energy there. So despite whatever struggles you might still be going through on a day-to-day basis, you are definitely coming through as somebody who like you have things under control, or as under control as it is possible to be. And I'm being drawn to the fact that this Knight of Pentacles has a pentacle on her belt. And it's almost like, you know, you've made this commitment with the pentacle on this treasure chest. You made this commitment to self-care is what is coming out here. And you're showing up every single day. And it's the Knight of Pentacles is very much a one day at a time energy. I'm going to show up today. I'm going to do what I need to do today, take care of whatever my daily responsibility is, make whatever progress I can make today. I'm not going to rush. There's no rush. There's no need to push myself past my limit. You know, it's like I'm going to show up, do what I need to do. I know I will get where I want to go eventually. And then, you know, and then when I'm done for the day, I'm going to, you know, give it a rest. And, because I know I'm gonna show up again tomorrow. So that's kind of the energy of the Knight of Pentacles is coming through today. It's very methodical and reliable. And again, like I just think this spread is really interesting because, you know, we have the Ace and then the 4 Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, 9 of Swords and the Emperor, and this 9 of Swords is between this Knight of Pentacles and the Emperor there. And so this is like kind of giving context, these 2 Swords cards in the middle here, kind of giving context to what is it that you are committed to, what is it that you are taking care of, what is it that you are focused on day to day, and what is it that the Emperor is here to represent. And if you are coming through, if your energy is coming through, if what stands out about you is coming through as the Emperor, then again, that is talking to me about somebody who you give off an energy of, you can, I just heard, you can take care of your shit. Like you just have your stuff together, you know, and it's a representative of the Divine Masculine. It is a very stable energy. It's a representative of the Divine Masculine. And what that means is, it doesn't mean that you are masculine or you identify as male, or you have like a masculine gender identity or gender presentation, etc. It's not about gender. It's about your energy. And a Divine Masculine energy is assertive. It is somebody who has a plan, somebody who is very organized. You know what you want and you're going after it. And and again, it's a responsible energy of I know exactly what I am responsible for. I am responsible for myself and taking care of other people who are in my care, and everything else I'm going to leave up to the universe. But I am going to take care of the things that are my responsibility, and that's what I'm hearing is. And this is honestly kind of a similar energy to pile 2. So if you felt drawn to pile 2, there might be messages there for you as well. The message that I'm getting is, whatever is being represented here on the 9 of Swords, whether that is if you have like just like, you know, through no fault of your own, if you have a chemical imbalance in your brain that is causing heightened anxiety or depressive symptoms, the thing that's coming through is, my mental health struggles are not my fault, but they are my responsibility. That's what's coming. Like, it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. And it's my responsibility to, again, to manage the symptoms of that to the best of my ability. Take it one day at a time, continue to show up for myself, advocate for my needs. That is something that's definitely coming through with the Emperor here. You come through, you show up as somebody who, you will advocate for your needs, and you will advocate for the needs of other people who, you know, are in your care and or in your family and or your friends, other people who are also like you. And you might also resonate with the idea that if that interpretation of the 9 of Swords might not be resonating with you as much as this can just be the result of having gone through trauma and traumatic circumstances that have created like very valid and understandable anxieties for you. And you might have like fears or dark thoughts or intrusive thoughts that come up a lot. And I can see you, again, just taking it as it comes and managing those symptoms very well. And it's like the Emperor energy, definitely that is something that stands out about you. And, you know, I am making the connection to mental health, particularly because of this Nine of Swords and the energy of needing to rest and recover that is associated with the Four of Swords as well. There could be another way to interpret these energies that have little or nothing to do with mental health, because we do have a lot of Pentacles energy here. This could also be associated with your career or schooling or anything else you're doing with your time or to make money. And so the Ace of Pentacles could even talk about, you know, having like a new career opportunity or starting a business, taking a chance on something that is related to career or money, because that's an association with Pentacles, and an Ace of a new beginning or a new opportunity. And it's like, this might be, you know, I've invested in something new. I'm taking it slowly, one day at a time. I'm really investing in it and really showing up for whatever this idea is, this business is. And if this resonates for you, then that might you might have some like sleepless nights about it, just like worrying, you know, is this gonna take off? Is this gonna be something that is successful? Am I investing my time and money and resources in the right way? Is this something that's gonna work for me? And then kind of shutting those thoughts down with the energy of the Emperor. And or this can even be saying the Knight of Pentacles Emperor energy is what you are outwardly showing to other people. That might be the impression that other people have about your energy, is you have everything under control, you know, you're not worried about anything, you're just taking it as it comes. And this could be kind of more of an internal thought process of like, yes, I'm putting on the face of somebody who is like the CEO or the creator of the business, and I have everything under control and everything's great. But you might be, you know, like you have like internal worries and stresses that you might not share with everybody. Or this could even be saying, you might be trying to give off the impression that you have everything together, but something that might come through in your behavior or your expressions, or like people who are able to read subtext or read behind the lines and really pick up on your energy might be able to tell that you have a lot more stress than you are sharing with other people. That might be like kind of hidden behind the scenes, behind the you know, your kind of like outward attempt to portray yourself as somebody who has everything under control and doesn't worry about anything. Just take it, you know, as with any tarot reading, just take whatever resonates for you. But that could be another way to interpret these energies. Even though I will say my intuitive first impression when I saw this spread was definitely about recovering from certain symptoms of mental health crisis and or something that might be related to past trauma, past traumatic events. And even going through a depressive episode can be traumatizing. So that makes sense, you know, and it's again, what comes through in your energy is the way you have really committed to yourself, to your self-care, and to managing the different challenges in your life. And it's, again, I'm hearing again that phrase, it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility, which is, I think, a really good way to look at it. And again, that is really the way I'm being called to read these cards, but there might be additional messages that are associated with your career or a business you are running or a creative project that you're working on. And it could be that, you know, both interpretations apply to you. So again, just take whatever resonates for you. But that is what is coming through in the cards. And I do, again, want to reiterate that if you felt drawn to pile 2, there were similar messages there as well. Although I think you are coming through as somebody who is a little bit more grounded, a little bit more earthy energy coming through here. So I do want to say that. And then we're going to move into the Oracle cards. We have, ooh, okay, yeah, this makes sense to me. So we have the Seahorse Spirit, which says watch and wait. And it is the number 53, which reduces to 8, which is associated with hard work, the material world, and financial abundance. And with watch and wait, there might be a message that you know and you have faith that even despite whatever doubts or misgivings you might have internally, you are giving off the impression that you know that whatever you're working on is going to pay off in the long term. Whether we are talking about recovery from something related to mental health and or something that has to do with a business or a creative project or whatever you're working on in terms of your career or whatever you're doing to make money. So again, this could be like an either or and or both kind of situation, but the watch and wait energy, definitely I would associate that with the Knight of Pentacles, of like one day at a time, making steady progress day by day, working towards your goal, and knowing that you don't need to rush. And there's also a message with this card about emotional detachment. There's in the guidebook they use the phrase "not my circus, not my monkeys," and so there's a message about kind of taking a step back emotionally, and I would definitely associate that with the message of the Four of Swords, and that might be part of this phase or cycle that you have created for yourself, this new part of your life. This might have been a big change from how you used to be, but what stands out about you is that you are not somebody who's going to easily get pulled into the drama. You are not somebody you are no longer somebody who is very affected by the emotions of other people around you. That might have been something that has happened in the past, so you have needed to learn how to detach yourself. You might have struggled with codependency or overemphasizing with other people's emotional states, and that might have created a lot of anxiety for you and dark thoughts and emotional turmoil for you. That is what you have needed to rest and recover from, and it might have required you to practice emotional detachment so that you could prioritize taking care of yourself and practicing self-care. And so if we're asking the question, what stands out about you? What stands out is your ability to remain stable, steady, balanced, despite whatever drama or emotional turmoil might be going on around you in your external environment, in your family system, etc. What stands out about you is your ability to maintain your balance and to remain detached from whatever if someone's trying to pull you into something, you're just like, I'm just going to focus on me. I don't need to take on other people's stuff anymore. And that is a beautiful energy, and I'm seeing a rock in the middle of a river. Like, that's your energy as somebody who is very grounded. And again, that's a very healthy place to be, especially if you are somebody who has dealt with toxic people, narcissistic people, people who are addicted to drama, people who are addicted to substances, and codependency with family members and or other people in your life. If you've had to learn how to overcome all of that stuff and recommit to yourself and to your self-care, you are doing a great job, and it shows through in your energy. It's a very kind of steady, steadfast, one day at a time energy. Oh, wow, okay. And then we have the Mother archetype, which says nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life. And it is interesting. We have the Divine Masculine with the Emperor, and then the Mother archetype here. So that would talk to me about a balanced Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine energy. And with the energy of nurturance, patience, and unconditional love, definitely I could see that being associated with this Knight of Pentacles energy of like nurturance, like every day showing up and taking care of yourself and the things that are your responsibility. You might literally be a mother, in which case that is something that people are saying about you that makes you stand out, is how seriously you take the how can I phrase this? Not that you're serious all the time. Like, you absolutely have a fun side as well, but it's just you take the responsibility of parenthood extremely seriously, and that could be because you have had to reparent yourself. It could be because you did not have the parents that you deserved growing up, and you might have had to learn how to nurture yourself and be patient with yourself and to give yourself that self-compassion that might not have been given to you as a child, the unconditional love that might not have been given to you as a child. And it's like well, I'm going to do that for myself because I did not have that given to me growing up. If that resonates for you, I could definitely see that being associated with your energy. And with joy in giving birth to life, that could also be associated with literal, again, you could literally be a parent, but even if you're not, this can talk about bringing that energy to every other aspect of your life, to taking care of yourself, taking care of your responsibility. If you have a business or a creative enterprise or some other way of making money that is just yours, that you've kind of given birth to, or even giving birth to, again, creative projects like painting things and, or doing a sculpture or something. It's like it didn't exist before and you've created, you've brought it to life, and it's taking joy in that process. That is something that stands out for you. It's taking joy in, and that's why I said it's not all serious, although it's like taking the role and the responsibility extremely seriously with the Knight of Pentacles Emperor energy, but it's like embracing the joyful part of getting to nurture something, having the opportunity to practice patience, having the opportunity to share the unconditional love that is inside of your heart with whatever we're talking about here, whether it's a literal child, your pets, your plants, your garden, your business, whatever it is. It's something that definitely comes through in your energy and stands out about you is your nurturing energy, your patience, and the way that you are willing and able to share unconditional love, despite the fact that that might not have been something that was shared with you when you needed it. However that resonates for you. I also want to point out this card is green, and so I would definitely associate that with having like a very open heart chakra and a big heart. It's a compassionate energy. It's having compassion for yourself and compassion for others. That definitely comes through in your energy. While at the same time, with the Seahorse spirit, there is a certain level of, it's probably a hard lesson to learn. Like, it was probably difficult getting to this place. If you have a very open heart and you are so eager to take care of other people, it was probably difficult to learn the lesson of the Seahorse spirit, that sometimes the safest and best thing to do is to emotionally detach from other people who are not in a healthy energy or who are in a toxic energy, because part of learning how to be an effective caretaker is learning that the most important person to take care of is yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to give that love to yourself first, and then because your cup is full, you will always be able to share that with other people as well. And that is like a beautiful energy. It's a beautiful message. And then we have death here, and that could absolutely be associated with the death card in the tarot, with a message about transformation and rebirth, and definitely if we're starting with an ace here of like, this is like something you have created for yourself. This is a new phase, a new part of your life that you have created for yourself, and that might have come out of a very dark period in your life, and it might have required a transformation on your part. It might have required, again, the first initial thing that came to me when I saw the Ace of Pentacles was choosing to commit to myself, and that's something new. That's something that I was not doing before. That might be part of the transformation we're talking about on this death card. It is also the number 7, which is a number that is very much associated with spirituality. So this could also be talking about going through a spiritual transformation that might have led you to being able to embrace your Emperor energy, and can also be talking about like a spiritual ascension. If that resonates for you, might come through as somebody who's very high vibrational and spiritually evolved, and that is something that has allowed you to be as grounded in the practical physical world as you are. There's like a balance there between spirituality and spiritual connection and the very practical side of these Pentacles cards and the Emperor energy there. And there's also a message with this card that these kinds of transformations require courage. It takes a lot of courage to step forward into a new cycle, not knowing what's going to happen next, not knowing what the outcome is going to be. There's like a certain, like a need to kind of like release the outcome, embrace this new path, this new focus, and just take it one day at a time and watch and wait. And whatever comes in, it's like it's having that energy of like, whatever happens, I'm just going to continue to show up for myself. I'm going to continue to show up for other people in my life who are relying on me. And I'm, you know, with a sense of healthy boundaries. And I'm going to just take it as it comes. Just take it one day at a time. And I think something that stands out in your energy is your willingness to go through this process. And it was probably not an easy process, probably very painful, probably created a lot of anxiety and doubts and fears that were like bubbling up to the surface as you've been going through this day-by-day process. And people can see the transformation that you have been through, and that it was not easy for you. But the commitment, again, it's that committed energy that's coming through here. You know, the motherhood, in any way we want to look at it, is a huge commitment, you know. So even if you are not literally a parent, it's like just your willingness to commit to yourself and your own spiritual development is the thing that stands out about you. And so that's what I'm seeing in the cards for you, pile 3. And I am going to roll the Astro Dice just to get any additional messages for you. So this might be loud, so feel free to turn down the volume a bit. Okay, so what stands out about pile 3? What stands out about pile 3 and their energies? What stands Okay. All right, okay. This makes sense to me. We have the Sun, we have Capricorn, and we have the 12th house. And the reason why I said this makes sense right off the bat is, especially with the sun, the relation of the Sun and Capricorn, you might be an Earth sign, particularly a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Just take that however it resonates for you. I am picking up on an earthy type of energy, but that might just be something that comes through in your energy. And then it's like the hardworking, committed, ambitious energy of a Capricorn being focused on yourself, and your self-development is like something that's definitely coming through very strongly in this reading. And the Capricorn's also a cardinal energy, which I would, you know, the Emperor is usually associated with Aries, but they're both cardinal energies, you know, and so there's a certain level of assertiveness as well, but it's like an assertiveness and a commitment to self-development and like advocating for your needs. That's what's really coming through for me, with the fact that we have Capricorn in the Sun here. And with the 12th house energy there, it's interesting. There's a message here that, like, I think the cycle you're currently in, the lesson your soul is currently learning by being in this energy, is related to figuring out which things are your responsibility and which things are not your responsibility, which might have been confused or muddled for you in a previous cycle in your life. And that can be part of, like, your daily work, whatever you're working on, is like figuring out what is mine to take care of and what belongs to other people. And I could definitely see that being reflected in the seahorse spirit there of like, I'm only responsible for myself, so I know that I don't need to be drawn into some emotional thing that is not related to me. I don't need to let like drama llamas and narcissistic people draw me in, because it's not serving me and it's not serving them, you know. And that might be like part of your current, part of your what do I want to say? Part of your soul's lessons during this lifetime has been learning how to figure out What is my responsibility and what belongs to other people that I do not need to take on as my responsibility? Especially with the mother archetype here of like, definitely that would speak to me about somebody who has a very highly developed sense of responsibility, particularly a tendency to take on things that don't belong to you. So again, that might be part of something that you have been learning how to manage. And again, with the sun here, it's like the sun being with Capricorn and the sun being with the 12th house both make a lot of sense to me in terms of the energy that we have here of somebody who's, you're just like very naturally compassionate, nurturing, giving, generous with your time and your energy and your resources. And that's something that definitely comes through in your energy. And again, like just like part of your life lesson, I think, in this lifetime is going to be learning that it's okay to take care of yourself first. It's like put your own oxygen mask on first. You know, it's okay to do that because it's like by doing that, you are more effectively able to help other people. And part of that is probably also learning boundaries in terms of, you know, it is not your responsibility to help everybody, and some people do not want to be helped. You know, some people are just not in an energy to receive whatever you are trying to give, or they're in an energy where they're going to take everything you have to give and leave nothing for you and not give you anything back, and that's not fair, and you deserve better than that in this lifetime, in any lifetime. And so that might be part of your kind of the lesson you're learning in this lifetime, but definitely something that comes through in your energy and makes you stand out is your loving, as there's unconditional love here, loving, compassionate, giving, generous nature. You come through as somebody who's very sincere in your intentions. You're very empathetic. You might have like a really like highly developed, just natural, innate skill with picking up on other people's emotions that might have really caused a lot of turmoil for you and like emotional damage for you in previous stages of your life. And you have overcome that by learning how to also focus on yourself and taking care of yourself and your self-care. And that's something that comes through. You're also very grounded and just coming through as like very, very stable, reliable, steady, and responsible. Like you're the mom friend, you know, again, regardless of gender. You know, you always make sure everybody has snacks. Everybody, you know, do you have a ride home? Do you have, you know, you have your raincoat? I heard it was going to rain later. You know, it's like that kind of energy. And I think that is definitely something that your friends and people who really love you, this is something that they really love about you. Just definitely there's some energy here. Maybe it's a spirit guide or the higher self of somebody in your life right now coming through, urging me to reiterate the message that you have people in your life, whether they are with you in the physical 3D and or as spirit guides. You have people in your life who really see who you are and really love you in the same unconditional way that you love other people. You are loved. That's a message that I'm feeling really compelled to give right now. And I am also feeling a lot of, I don't know what this feeling is. I'm having trouble identifying it. I'm feeling pressure in my solar plexus. It might be anxiety. It might be just pain, just emotional pain right now. So I also wanted to say that I might be channeling pain from somebody, whether that's you or from maybe somebody who wants to tell you that they love you, and there's some reason why that is a painful message for them to give. It's spreading up into my heart area right now. So maybe somebody who doesn't have the same will and determination that you have, doesn't have the same open heart and kind heart and loving and nurturing heart that you have, might be coming through to give the message that you are loved, you are lovable right now. So I do want to say, like, I'm definitely feeling that pain right there, some emotional pain. So those were the messages that I wanted to give to you today, pile 3. I hope that this reading has been helpful. I hope it has resonated for you. If you're interested in Lexi's video, the link will be in the description. I urge you to go and watch it. And with that said, thank you very much for watching pile 3. If you like my videos and you want to see more from me, you can feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I do hope to see you in my next video. Hello Pile 4, and welcome to your reading. If you chose the Queen of Wands, this is going to be your reading for today about what makes you stand out. And in case you missed it, this is a collaboration with the amazing Lexi the Leo, and she is going to check out what do people miss about you when you're gone. So if you're interested in that, the link will be in the description. And with that said, let's get into it. For what makes Pile 4 stand out? What makes Pile 4 stand out? Please, what makes... Okay, we have the Queen of Swords. Oh, it didn't come out. Okay. Alright, what makes Pile 4 stand out, please? Okay. Alright, we have the Ten of Swords. What makes Pile 4 stand out, please, Spirit? Okay, then we have, you guys got an extra card, and I'm going to allow it because it has taken a while for any cards to come out. I've been shuffling for a while. I probably cut out a bunch of it. So I'm just going to take 6 cards for you guys. Alright, so we have the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Wands, Judgment, Temperance, and the King of Pentacles. Okay, I'm just going to straighten them out. Okay, Pile 4. So the first thing that's standing out to me is you stand out as somebody who is decisive, and you know your worth. And it's probably through a long process of trial and error that you have come to a place of an understanding of your soul's calling, like your soul's higher calling, and where you need to be in order to be in alignment with your spiritual journey. And I'm getting the sense of, with the fact that we have both the Ten of Swords and the Ten of Wands here, that this has not been an easy process. It has not been a short process. And that's okay, because it has been a process of transformation that has allowed you to step into your power. Something that's standing out to me is that both the Queen of Swords here and the King of Pentacles there are wearing their crowns proudly. I'm really being drawn to the expression on this King of Pentacles face. And that, combined with the energy of the Queen of Swords, is giving me the impression that you know better than to share your energy with everybody right off the bat. But when people get to know you, they get to see the side of you that is very nurturing and compassionate. But that might be something that you kind of keep under wraps because you know it's not safe to give your energy to everybody. And that might have been like a really long learning process that had to do with a lot of emotional pain with the Ten of Swords there. So that's something that is just coming to me immediately. Stepping into your power and embracing your inner Queen of Swords and your inner King of Pentacles has not been an easy process. And it has been something that you have figured out how to do for yourself by learning how to align yourself with your divine path. If that makes sense, if that resonates for you, that's kind of what's coming through here. And before I get into the meaning of the cards, the other thing that I wanted to say right off the bat intuitively is I love the Queen of Swords in this deck. I think that that she's very beautiful, and I love like her sense of style. You know, you can tell that she kind of like really owns her aesthetic, and is kind of like standing with a quiet confidence, and that's what's giving me the impression of when I said like you know your worth and you know who you are. And it's like and even if you don't 100% resonate with that, that's something that, that's an impression I think that a lot of people have of you, is like when you step into the room, you have a real sense of yourself and who you are. And that is very attractive, and it stands out because a lot of people don't have that. And I think that the Queen of Swords, particularly in this deck, is talking to me about, so you just have like kind of a natural charisma that has nothing to do with words, even though you are probably also really good with words. Queen of Swords Swords is an excellent communicator, but it's like, it's just having such a strong sense of self, and that's something that definitely is coming through here. And I want to apologize if you can hear my cat in the background. And then the other thing that I forgot to say is we have both a Queen and a King here representing your energy. So regardless of your gender, something that comes through immediately about you is that you do have a balanced divine feminine, divine masculine energy, which to me would mean that, and again, this would resonate with both the Queen of Swords and the King of Pentacles specifically, is that you have a very nurturing side, patient side. You have a certain level of faith in yourself, in the universe, in divine timing, and in the abundance that is already yours because the abundant universe provides. So that would be, and I think it's actually being represented by the King of Pentacles here, but that would be representative of the divine feminine energy. And then the divine masculine energy is being assertive, being rational, having a plan, taking care of your responsibilities. Something that's true for both of these figures is like a responsible energy. And, you know, standing up for yourself and saying what needs to be said. And that is something that I would actually associate with the Queen of Swords, even though that is representative of a more divine masculine energy. So again, regardless of your gender identity, how you present yourself, you come across as somebody who has a very balanced, a very good balance between divine feminine traits, divine masculine traits. And so that's coming across as somebody who is strong, standing in your power, and also flexible enough to be able to go with the flow of life. But with the Queen of Swords, again, something that's definitely the aesthetic here is definitely standing out to me. You might have a very so I'm having throat chakra stuff. You might, and with the Queen of Swords too, talking about clear and direct communication, you might have been going through like a throat chakra clearing or expansion that has been part of your soul's journey in this lifetime so far. But if you are embodying the energy of the Queen of Swords, it's telling me that you do have an open throat chakra, and that might have been like a hard-earned thing for you, and like a part of these two tens here. And I was talking about her aesthetic, and I do think that there is something about your aesthetic that is very appealing, and I think that's something that might stand out, and that's like regardless, like I don't even know how to describe this aesthetic, like winter queen aesthetic, I guess, but you know, however it is that you dress or accessorize, you know, maybe you have like one color that you always wear, or you're like very good at pattern matching or whatever. There might just be something about your aesthetic that really stands out and really like catches people's attention. You might also have like white hair, or you might color your hair in some interesting type of way, and that might draw people in. But again, just take that however it resonates. But regardless of the aesthetic, the Queen of Swords energy, again, is an energy of somebody who is direct, assertive. You know what you want. You're going to go after it. It's somebody who makes decisions based on weighing the pros and cons and coming to the best solution for the most people. And you're also not afraid to prioritize your own needs and advocate for your own needs as well, because it's just the Queen of Swords has an innate understanding that taking care of yourself is your responsibility, you know, and there is a certain level of independence that is associated with the Queen of Swords, and again, that might be something that has been kind of hard won. It might have been a long journey to get to the place where you are embodying this Queen of Swords, King of Pentacles energy, where you're really standing in your power and embracing the crown, putting that crown on your own head because you deserve it. Yeah, both the Queen of Swords and the King of Pentacles would talk to me about somebody who has high self-esteem, and that is something that even if you don't 100% identify with this interpretation, this is what is coming out in the energy of these cards, is that when you walk into a room, something that people notice about you is you come across as somebody who has a strong sense of yourself, you have strong self-esteem, and you're not afraid to stand up for yourself. And that is, again, an energy of somebody who has like high charisma, even if you wouldn't say that about yourself. That is something that is coming through in these cards. And with the Queen of Swords, it's being direct and clear with communication. I think that you are somebody that you stand out as somebody who people don't have to guess where they stand with you. Like, you will tell somebody. if they're doing something that you don't like, or if they, you know, are crossing one of your boundaries, or if, you know, whatever it is, you're not afraid to have an uncomfortable conversation with somebody if it is something that needs to be said. And I think that that is something that people really respect about you. I know that's not the topic of the reading, but I do think that is something that people respect it, because the Queen of Swords is somebody who knows that she deserves respect. And at the same time, it's that sense of independence, and I can take care of myself, and I know what I'm worth energy is being kind of counterbalanced with the King of Pentacles, which, as I said, is a very nurturing energy. You know, the King of Pentacles is definitely responsible. They take their responsibilities very seriously. And they take care, the King of Pentacles takes care of his home and family, and is very good with money and financial resources. You might come across as somebody who, even if this is, again, even if this is not 100% true, you come across as somebody who has money or is very good at managing the money that you do have. And that could even just be related to whatever your aesthetic is. Again, even if you don't actually have a lot of financial resources, you come across as somebody who either you do or you could, if you wanted to, have a lot of money or financial resources. There's just something about maybe your aesthetic or the way that you carry yourself that gives that portrayal, maybe to, again, people who might not know your financial situation might assume that you have money. So that's just a kind of an intuitive message coming through there. Either way, the King of Pentacles is somebody who is abundant because they know that, like, it's about like having faith in the universe and the divine, and being appreciative and grateful for whatever you do have, and whether that abundance is just, I have an abundance of love in my life, I'm able to be out in nature and that's something I feel grateful for, etc., etc., whatever we're feeling abundant about, that would be something I would also associate with the King of Pentacles. If the financial abundance thing isn't necessarily resonating for you. And then the other thing that I want to mention is the King of Pentacles, because it's Pentacles, is also a very practical energy, very down to earth, grounded in reality. And is the King of Pentacles also somebody who makes decisions based on the greatest good for the most people, and really kind of taking a practical look. So that would definitely also resonate with the Queen of Swords figure. So you come across as somebody who is grounded, practical, rational. You do not make snap decisions, and you do not, even though you are decisive when you have chosen a path to take, you will go and take action towards it. But those decisions are based on reason and logic rather than emotion. You don't come across as somebody who gets emotional about something, makes a snap decision, and takes rash action towards it. You come across instead as somebody who's like, I've weighed the pros and cons, I've done my whole inventory list, and I've just, you know, I've figured out that this is the solution that works the best for the most people involved, and I'm going ahead with it because that's all the information that I need to know about it before moving forward. So that's definitely also something that's coming through. And then so now that we've talked about the court cards here, so I'm going to move into the fact that we have the Ten of Swords and the Ten of Wands. I think it is important that these two cards are beside each other. And I think it's also important that we have a 10, and then the 20 on the Judgment card, because to me this is talking about a spiritual journey that ends up in temperance. It's like the court cards are bookends of kind of the two different sides of your personality that stand out the most to people when they meet you. I think that the Queen of Swords might be based on like people's first impressions, and then when they get to know you a little bit deeper, they get to know your King of Pentacles side. That's something that's coming through, but it's based on this spiritual journey that we have going on in these four cards in the middle here. And with the Ten of Swords, that talks to me about, oh, and I also want to say that Ten of Swords did come out for pile 2, I believe. So if you were feeling drawn to pile 2, there might also be messages there for you. But the energy of every pile has been distinct so far. So the Ten of Swords talks to me about, and the Ten of Wands being a 10 talks to me about the end of a cycle. The Sword specifically was probably a painful cycle. It was probably emotionally painful. It's like going through an emotionally painful journey to a point where if we're at the Ten of Swords, then there's nothing more that we can do to fix or salvage this situation, and it's time to, even on this card, like it's time to just give up the ghost. It's time to just call it a day on whatever this cycle was. We've learned the lesson from it. We've taken whatever we can out of the situation in order to move forward. You know, it's an opportunity to say, okay, like I can't go any further down this path, so I'm going to take a second to close out anything I need to close out, tie up the loose ends here, and I'm going to reflect on this ending and decide how I want to move forward from this point. That's what's coming through here. And with the fact that we see the spirit of this person kind of coming out, and the expression on this spirit's face to me is pensive. And so again, that would talk to me about doing a spiritual reflection on the journey that we've just been through and how we got to this point. You know, how did I get to this point of having 10 swords in my back? And what can I do so that the next time I start a new cycle, I won't end up here again? If it is possible to prevent this again, what steps can I take to make sure that I'm not in this painful situation again? Because again, it's like, what can I learn from this so that I can start a new cycle and do something differently that's going to maybe end up, you know, with me being at the 10 of Cups instead of the 10 of Swords, for example. So that, you know, would, again, it would talk to me, you've been through some sort of a painful journey that resulted in an ending of some sort, and that might have led you to like a spiritual ascension to a place where you have been able to step into your Queen of Swords, King of Pentacles energy and really embrace your power to create positive changes in your own life. That's what's coming to me with the 10 of Swords. And then with the 10 of Wands right next to it, you know, the 10 of Wands is not necessarily a negative energy. It's usually, for me, it depends on the context of the reading. But 10 wands, regardless of how you look at it, 10 wands is a lot of wands to carry. It's a lot for one person. And it can carry an energy of feeling overwhelmed or very burdened or overworked. You know, it's the figure, not in this deck, but it's usually a figure carrying 10 wands up a hill or up a mountain. And there can be an energy with this card of determination and ambition, which is not a negative thing, you know, but it can also be an energy of taking on too much. Like you do not need to carry all of this on your own, even though you might be doing a great job. You know, it's like, it could be like a high functioning energy, but it's also, there's also a message of, at the end of the day, you don't have to take on all of this work for yourself. You know, you could make multiple trips. You could ask friends to help you carry these wands up this mountain. You know, you could like delegate responsibility, or you could choose to put these wands down. If they're, you know, if getting them to the top of the mountain is not something that is in alignment with your goals and with what you want, it's okay to let go of that responsibility. And so that might be part of what the spirit on this 10 of Swords is kind of reevaluating, is how much work do I want to do? How much do I want to carry? How burdened do I want to be? Am I taking on too much? Am I carrying the weight of other people's expectations when it's not serving me? You know, when it's not in alignment with my divine path and with my divine goal. And so that's why I also think it's important that the next card we have here is Judgment, and we have a 10 and a 10 and then the 20 of Judgment. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. You know, it's like we're kind of taking this situation and we're getting to a place of a greater understanding of our divine path and our divine purpose. And this can also talk about a spiritual ascension, a spiritual awakening, and again, awakening to your divine purpose. And so if this is talking about a spiritual journey that you have been going on that has led you to be in the energy of the Queen of Swords and the King of Pentacles, it would make sense to me that part of your spiritual ascension, your spiritual growth, awakening, and you know, if you've been embracing your spirituality as a way for you to evaluate your past experiences, then that's ultimately a positive thing. And I think I lost my train of thought. I was talking about how 10 plus 10 equals 20. So again, it's like if you're using this to evaluate your past experiences, it's coming to a conclusion that perhaps the way to move forward and the way to avoid ending up in this painful position on the 10 of Swords again, ending up on like carrying too much or having too much on your plate, and things that maybe are not for you, and being maybe a little bit overly ambitious, and instead of doing that, instead, let's turn to asking ourselves, like our higher self and our inner knowing, and our spirit guides and our angels, asking for help in determining, okay, well, what is the best thing for me? How can I avoid being in this place again? How can I live a life that is more balanced? You know, with the fact that we're having this moment of divine judgment, and getting to a place where we have a much clearer understanding of our soul's purpose and our soul's calling for this lifetime, and then stepping into the temperance energy of, okay, well, how can I figure out what works best for me? How can I achieve a level of balance so that I'm not overburdened, I'm not overworked, and I'm not ending up with 10 swords in my back again? You know, how can I get to a place where I have a really strong balance between my divine feminine, my divine masculine, and vice versa, you know, and my really loving, compassionate, nurturing side with my assertive and decisive and independent side as well. Like, how can I create a marriage between these energies that is going to work the best for me? And so if this is something that, you know, again, we're getting a little deeper here. There's a lot of, I think, of deeper meaning in this spread here. If we're talking about what stands out about you, I think the answer to that question, the direct answer to that question is the energy of the Queen of Swords, the energy of the King of Pentacles, but then we have context for how did you get there. And something else that, and I was saying, like, something else that really comes out is a sense of balance. And it's like you don't come across as somebody who is at one extreme or the other. You come across as somebody who is just kind of taking it step by step, taking it day by day, going through a process of trial and error to figure out what works best for you. You're willing to work with other people, and there was a message with the Judgment card that you probably have also really embraced your spirituality. I mean, you are watching a tarot reading, which is, you know, an aspect of how people practice spirituality. So it would make sense to me that you also stand out as somebody who is higher vibrational, as somebody who is a little bit more spiritually evolved, and somebody who has really done a lot of work, a lot of soul searching, a lot of shadow work, a lot of emotional work related to things that have gone on in your life so far. And again, this might have been a long and painful process for you, but it's like you've come to a place of balance and temperance, which is a beautiful energy. And then the last thing I want to say before we move into the Oracle cards is about your zodiac sign. You might be an air sign with the Queen of Swords, the Ten of Swords there. You might be a fire sign, particularly Sagittarius with the Ten of Wands and the Temperance card there, or an earth sign with the King of Pentacles. Sun, moon, or rising, take it however it resonates. You might not be any of those signs, and and that's okay, because we're just talking about, you know, what makes you stand out would be like what is your energy projecting, versus like traits based on your astrological chart. So I did want to say that. And something else I was feeling like I wasn't done talking about the Temperance card, and then Spirit reminded me I also wanted to talk about, because Temperance is also associated with Sagittarius, and it is associated with that kind of like trial and error. I'm going to see what's the best thing for me. It can also carry an energy of traveling, exploration, and being very open to new experiences, particularly new spiritual experiences with the Judgment card right there. And so that could also be something that really comes out in your energy. You know, sometimes I think people could see the Queen of Swords as being like maybe a little bit standoffish, or somebody has like an emotional wall up, etc. But with the Temperance card there, I think that something that stands out about your energy is that you are open-minded. good, and you are willing to experiment and to explore, and that can also be, you know, if we're talking about the aesthetic on the Queen of Swords card, that could also be that you are like constantly kind of changing up your style, you know, and trying to figure out, okay, what is my aesthetic, and I'm just going to try new things and see what works for me, and that might be also something that people do notice about you, that stands out about you, and that's ultimately a positive thing. And then, sorry, I keep saying and then. I do want to move into the Oracle cards, but then the last thing was I am also being drawn to the tattoos on this figure on the Temperance card. So if you have tattoos, that might also be something that stands out about you. You might have like maybe a tribal tattoo or a different tattoo that's very eye-catching, and that might also be something that people notice about you right away. So I did want to say that, and then I will move into the Oracle cards, and we have... Ooh, I love this. Okay, we have the Horse Spirit, which says freedom is yours. And it is the number 33, which is a master number. So, and 33 is also an angel number, and it might be an important synchronicity for you, might be a number that you see a lot. 33 on the clock might be something that you see a lot. And I would associate the number 3 with positivity, joy, creative expression, and the divine feminine. But with the Horse Spirit and freedom is yours, it's like you come across as a free spirit, I think is what's coming through with that. And I would definitely also associate that with the Sagittarian energy of the Temperance card, of like, you know, you're grounded in the sense like of the energy of the King of Pentacles, and somebody who is practically like has a practical mind, but your soul is not tethered to any one way of being or any one way of doing things, and you come across as a free spirit, as somebody who cannot be pinned down. You will not be trapped into anything, and that might be because that might be part of an old cycle that you have closed out when you have begun to explore your spirituality and gotten really into your spiritual development, and into a place of balance. It's like no longer taking on too much, you know, and living at the extreme here. And by doing that, you have opened up a world of freedom for yourself, and that is definitely something that really stands out about your energy, and that could even be something that also stands out about your aesthetic. You know, you might have like a really kind of free-spirited kind of aesthetic, you know, however that resonates for you. And I do also want to say I am once again being drawn to the hair on this horse is like very flowing and silky, so that might be something, and it is white hair, so that, again, that might be something that resonates for somebody watching, that people really notice your hair, or your like physical aesthetic. And there's another phrase that just came to me, like, is that freedom is yours if you choose to take it. So I think that there might also be a message that freedom is a choice to a certain degree. And particularly when we're making a choice to follow our divine path, that can definitely be true. So there might be, again, something you were tied to, something you were tethered to, some sense of responsibility or obligation that had you taking on too much for other people, that you have freed yourself from through the help of your spiritual development and embracing this, let's see what's out there for me, temperance energy. And again, you're coming through with something like you just have an inner sense of freedom, and that's a beautiful, very attractive energy to be in, and it is something that definitely stands out about you. And then the other aspect of this card is that it talks about how horses are social animals, and they're willing to work with humans. We've been working with horses for a long time, and so even though you have the freedom to choose who you work with and what work you choose to do, and that includes spiritual work, there is a sense that you also know that if you need help, you can always ask for help, and it's maybe a lesson that has been learned from this Ten of Wands of taking on too much or feeling like you need to do everything yourself. There's a certain freedom in knowing that you can ask for help if you need it, and there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with delegating certain tasks to other people, and again, it's kind of reiterating that message of I'm no longer living at the extremes. You know, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to ensure that everybody is getting what they need out of this situation, including me. So again, that's a positive energy there that stands out about you. And then we have, ooh, okay. Okay, we have the Hermit archetype, which says, seeks solitude to focus intently on inner life, serves personal creativity. So personal creativity, again, I would definitely associate that with the number 3. That might be something that you are exploring with the Temperance card, might be exploring your creative side. You might be doing something like art therapy, or just exploring artistic expression as a hobby, or it could be that you are doing something creative as a career, and that is something that is very personally meaningful for you. But you know, creativity can apply to anything. It can apply to working as an accountant even, you know, like I'm sure there's a creative way to apply that there. So I think serves personal creativity is, you might also be, if you are not doing something artistic, you might also be somebody who you are like a creative problem solver. Like you have that kind of flexible analytical thinking that that helps you really figure out how to move forward. And I would also associate that flexible, like creative problem solving with the Temperance energy. And then with seek solitude to focus intently on inner life, that might have been part of your spiritual journey, part of maybe the journey that you're currently on, and maybe part of the reason why you come across as kind of like an untethered soul, as like and the independent energy of the Queen of Swords, even though you do have a big heart and you're open to working with other people, is like there might have been like a long period of solitude, and you might have had to kind of go into hermit mode for a while to kind of, you know, get these swords out of your back, kind of heal and reevaluate and connect with your spiritual side, and to focus on your inner life, to figure out how you want to move forward in your life, and what does work for you, what is serving you, and what do you need, and how are you going to advocate for those needs, and to focus on yourself. And that might be something that has been part of a long journey, is learning that it is not only okay, it is very healthy to prioritize yourself and your own needs, and to, you know, to say, like, if people are trying to place responsibilities on you and burdens on you that are not yours to carry, it is okay to say no to that, you know. And that might be some part of the journey that you have had to learn. You might have had to walk away from people. You might have had to cut people off with the swords energy here. And you might have had to do that for your own mental health and your own sense of well-being. And again, you might have really gone into a sort of isolation period or hermit mode for a while you were dealing with all of this with your inner world and inner work and shadow work, etc. Whatever that means for you. And that could be something that does stand out about you, is that you come across as having a very independent energy. Again, whether you would say that about yourself or not, that is something that is coming through. You have like an independent, free spirit, untethered soul sort of energy. And it was something that I was noticing right off the bat as soon as I saw the spread, is you do come across as somebody who you know how to take care of yourself. You have like that self-sufficient sort of energy. I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what I need. I'm going to ask for what I want. And I'm standing strong in my power. You could give off the impression that you don't need anybody. And that could be... or you could just be like just a very independent person, and that could just be part of your personality, or that could just be a way for you to... protect yourself energetically from people who are not in alignment with your energy. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it could just be that, again, you come across as somebody who's very independent, and as somebody who is introspective and insightful, especially into yourself. So again, it would reiterate that for me, because you've taken the time to do your hermit mode, you know, that it was probably a necessary part of your spiritual growth, that you have gained a certain level of insight and introspection into yourself, your own behaviors, other people's behaviors, the spiritual nature of the universe, that makes you, that contributes to the sense that you are very wise and insightful. So that's also something that definitely stands out about your energy. And then we have, we have drought, which just intuitively right off the bat might be echoing this message about independence, or going through a period of solitude, or going through a period where, you were kind of separated from something, or you didn't have a resource that you needed, whether that was love or companionship from other people because you needed to go into your hermit mode to heal yourself from something. You know, this one figure on a card in a desert would talk to me about like part of this journey needed to be done alone. And so that's the intuitive message coming out right away. And then we do have the energy of the number 8, which I would associate with the King of Pentacles. It is associated with hard work. Definitely lots of hard work energy here as well. And the physical world, very practical, grounded energy, and money, which again, I would associate that with the King of Pentacles. And I'm also being drawn to the 8th house in astrology of things that things that are a little bit of a mystery, things that are maybe a little bit taboo to talk about. We don't really talk about them, things that are going on behind the scenes, which might have to do with money or relationship dynamics, sexual dynamics, etc. Things that are a little bit mysterious. And that might be something that stands out or comes through in your energy as I was said, like maybe not feeling the need to share your energy with everybody might make you come across as a little bit mysterious or enigmatic. And the message of this card is very much related to this Ten of Swords, Ten of Wands energy of like, you know, a drought in a desert is like it's a feeling of hopelessness, of despair. Like, well, I'm never going to find the water that I need. Like, everything is kind of crumbling to dust. I'm never going to get what I need out of the situation. I've been walking for hours in the hot desert, and I don't know when it's going to end. It's that kind of energy, but there is a message with this card of there's help that is closer than you think. And that can be, you know, asking spirit for help, asking our spirit guides for help, and leaning into our spirituality and introspection, into like digging deeper, like water just below the sand here. Like it's there. We just have to dig a little bit deeper to find the resources that we need, because something about our situation is it's not immediately obvious how to get what we want out of the situation. So it requires a little bit of deeper digging, and it requires a little bit of, and like even the message of learning how to ask for help, and that it is okay to ask for help. And again, whether that is help from spirit and your angels, your higher self, digging deeper into that, doing meditation, whatever you need to do there. There's also a message about literally asking other people for help as well, which might be part of this temperance energy. And it's like, I think that has been part of your soul's journey. That has made you stronger. But again, this is like, people are aware that you have gone through a period of hopelessness and despair, and that you needed to turn inwards and go into your hermit mode, and now you are free. You have reached a certain level of freedom. And that's a beautiful energy. And it's like, I'm not sure these cards down here are really talking about like first impressions. Maybe the horse spirit is, but I think a lot of people have some sense of your soul's journey or your spiritual journey in this lifetime. And it's those people, what stands out about your energy is that you found water in the desert. You have reached a place of temperance after a long, hard journey where there were parts of it that where you felt helpless and hopeless. And you've pulled yourself out of that. And that speaks of a lot of internal strength. And so that's what I'm seeing in the cards for you, pile 4. And to finish off the reading, I'm going to roll some Astro Dice just to get any last additional messages. It might be a little bit loud, so you might want to turn the volume down a little. What stands out about pile 4? What makes pile 4 stand out, Spirit? What makes pile 4 stand out? Ooh, okay. So we have Aquarius, which is an air sign with this Queen of Swords energy. We have Venus, and we have the 9th house. And what's interesting is that these dice kind of really confirm a lot of the things that I was seeing. Definitely I would associate these dice with this Queen of Swords energy and the Temperance energy here, absolutely. And even the Horse Spirit, freedom is yours, because of the Aquarius energy. First of all, something that just realized I forgot to mention is that the Queen of Swords is also very intelligent, and you come across as being very intelligent, and you might be like very analytical, and you know, I was talking about being intuitive and wise and spiritually developed. There's also just a level of innate intelligence that you have that comes across, and I think that you come across as being very smart, and it can also be the connection between Aquarius and the 9th house of exploration and abundance and travel and philosophy, that and 9th house Sagittarius connection there as well. Like there's a level of intelligence and innovation that that it's like you might have a very interesting worldview, and it's like you're a very interesting person to have a conversation with. And I think it's also, I'm sorry if I'm talking really fast, I'm getting excited. It's also, I think that something that's coming through is that you, again, you're so interesting to talk to. I think that, and especially because of certain life experiences that you've had, you're able to speak intelligently about things that that I think a lot of people find very like esoteric or confusing or complex, and you're just able to, it's like the thing that's coming to my brain is somebody who has a real understanding of how things work will be able to explain something with varying levels of detail. So again, like being able to explain nuclear physics to a layperson is something that requires a high degree of intelligence and understanding. You know, it's like, it's one thing if you understand nuclear physics, it's another thing if you can explain it to a layperson. So that's what's coming through, is that you have that higher level of intelligence where you could explain anything to anybody in a way that they can understand. And that's why I think that definitely you come through as somebody who, something that stands out about you is that you're so interesting to talk to, and you probably have a lot of like really interesting stories too, even just about your life experiences, and your understanding of the world and the way that the world works, and your, you know, having done your introspective work into yourself, into other relationships in your life, your soul's journey so far, you have a lot of really insightful things to say as well, and I think that people probably find that really fascinating about you. That's something that definitely stands out about you, your intellect and your ability to communicate things. And you might also have with this Venus energy here with the Aquarius in the 9th house, like an innovative or interesting approach to interpersonal relationships. And you might, and especially with the Temperance energy, like you might have a very kind of specific idea of the type of interpersonal relationships that you do and don't want in your life. And it's an energy of, I'm going to do what's right for me, especially with this Aquarius energy of authenticity and embracing your unique self, of like, I'm gonna, in the 9th house, like I'm gonna go and figure out what kind of relationship dynamic works the best for me, and then I'm going to settle for no less than I deserve out of all of my relationships in life. I've done the other thing where I was taking on everybody else's burdens and running myself into the ground, you know, and I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm stepping into my power, I'm embracing my authentic self and my authentic truth, and I'm going to move forward in that energy. And I'm not tethered to anything. I always have the freedom of choice in all of my affairs and all of my relationships. And that is something that definitely also comes through in your energy, as like, you are not going to settle for something less, especially when it comes to your interpersonal relationships. So with that said, that is where I'm going to leave your reading today. Pile 4. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please go check out Lexi's video, and if you like this video, you can feel free to give it a like. Please comment down below and let me know how it resonated for you. If you like my videos and you want to see more from me, you can feel free to subscribe to my channel. And with that said, thank you again very much for watching, Pile 4, and I do hope to see you in my next video.